So welcome everybody to today's Atlassian community event from the Atlassian Koblenz. It's a pleasure for me to have two speakers today from release management. The good stuff is the first name is the same, so it's Yuri and Yuri, and one of them will just show us that today's topic is AI agent in release management from automation to autonomy. So I'm very excited about that presentation. If there are any questions, guys, feel free to type your questions into the chat, and then to make it easy and short, maybe Yuri, a short introduction from yourself, who you are, and then you can start with the presentation.
Yeah, thank you, Dave. It's a great pleasure for us to be there. And my name is Yuri. I'm co-founder of Release Management Apps, and our main specialization is building release management applications and also applications for Kanban and advanced agile processes.
Thanks, Dave, for having us. My name is also Yuri. I'm also co-founder, so it's easy with us today.
Yeah, and today we would like to share our vision and what we see speaking to different leaders across the globe in area of release management, and how the companies, especially big companies, envision adoption of AI agents and AI capabilities in release management area, because this area is quite conservative, and we will see some opportunities, fears, concerns, and ways how to overcome them and how to make the fully autonomous solution. But before doing so, maybe we can just present ourselves even more. So our company is founded in 2018, and we have headquarters in Poland and for offices in Ukraine and United States. At the moment, we have 7 applications. Majority of them are connected to release management. It's something like release management application itself and gadgets and all connected things. And some of them are to advanced agile and Kanban, as I mentioned before. And we are super proud and that we won several Partner of the Year awards during recent years. Like almost every year, we getting to be finalist or winner, and I think it's super pleasant for us, especially taking into account that we are a small team and that we can make impact with our resources on such big and great community as Atlassian. And our average rating is very close to 5, so that is also very good recognition by our clients.
Before we go to the AI agents for release management, let's talk release management per se. Yeah, so obviously you can go into read all the proper definitions for release management, but in short, it's literally a bridge between your engineering team or your engineering partner, if you use one, to your end users. So basically, it's a process of shipping your software through certain stages, which are not always technical. It's definitely a technical element there, but they also can be operational related, business related, etc., in order to satisfy your kind of end users. And if you talk about the enterprise, which usually has some complexity because of scale, then there are a couple of important elements that release management should include. One of them is obviously an alignment and coordination, because at enterprise, at this scale, there are much more units, stakeholders, people involved that needs to be coordinated and aligned around the releases and the whole process. It's obviously a consolidation, because rarely nowadays solutions becoming a single component. It's usually a multi-component solution that needs somehow to glue together in order to deliver value for the clients. It's obviously all about proper testing. It's not enough to test something in isolation and assure it's going to work. It needs to be tested all together holistically, and sometimes on different environments with different configurations per different use cases before we can actually go to production. And last but not the least, this is something which is common. Sometimes it can happen on a small, medium organization, but very common for the enterprises where you have a sophisticated approval process. It's not always internal process, though, let's say internal is a must. But there's also sometimes with external stakeholders, maybe a regulatory body, which is specific to certain industries like banking, financial sector, gaming, a lot of military, that requires that any release process will include certain pathway and gatekeepers to assure some things need to happen before is actually allowed to put in production. Otherwise, there's going to be some penalties, fines, etc., etc. So in the process just adds some additional complexity at scale, but we'll show now how even here AI can give great benefits. So let's go for it.
And if you take a look at all this picture about like communicating and looking at enterprise segment, because we see that majority of our clients are coming from enterprise segment where complexity is very high. First of all, we need to make some orchestration core around everything. So I would like to explain what I mean here. So each company, especially big one, has a huge variety of the tools. So it could be a Jira for tracking the work. It could be also some other tools for approvals. It might be just something for code based, like GitHub with actions. Maybe Jenkins can do some deployments in parallel to that. Maybe some communication with some other tools. And at the end, we need somehow to consolidate all this data into one place and show it a release centric in one place. So of course, it's quite easy to show all the work items, but if we will ask the question when we are going to deliver it, when it will be available on certain environment, or maybe when it will be available for UAT for the client, or maybe from the business side, quite often this problem is not well solved, and we need to have some overall orchestration here. Another thing that we need to get overview on the flow from beginning till the end, because only in this case we could be able to optimize it, just to avoid sub-optimization, to optimize the full flow instead of sub-optimizing pieces of it. And in this case, release management should be for taking a bit far away from the point when we're deploying to production. So we need to track all this, like from development till integrating testing on different places, and we need to get some single overview of all these components and all these steps, all for engagements across the full flow in one place. And as I mentioned, there are connection between all these tools in the landscape, and when we need to take decision about release, we need to take into consideration like status of the task in Jira, maybe some data from testing plugins like X-Ray, maybe we can take some data from pipelines, maybe we can get for information from pipelines, environment status, and do a correlation of all this data to build the full picture. So just to summarize, we need to orchestrate data from many different sources in one place. And if we will engage AI here, AI has superpower of getting a lot of data and making unified view and summarization of all the aspects of the all data which we can grab. I will explain so what I mean here. First of all, when we will take all this picture with all the systems with AI, we can start reading status of the each Jira task, comments in each Jira task. Also, we can get information from pull requests, from commits, from deployment or build jobs, from after test result, and we can read all this data in order to find some hidden signals, hidden data which will never be spotted by people, and this hidden data can better evaluate the risk. So that with orchestration we can get more holistic view by pulling the data using AI from all available sources. Another thing, if we will pull it, as I already mentioned, we can spot some unobvious risk. For instance, one of the previous use cases when we investigated with one of our clients, we found that some task was many times sent back from testing back to development. And during approval of this release, it was definitely necessary to validate why it happened so, and if the testing was really done okay, and if quality is good, because this ping pong is not a normal situation. And also, we can get the same data from Jenkins. So, for instance, if you see that Jenkins was failing, or maybe there are some after test failing, or maybe we see some warnings about something, nobody in real life, like from people, will be coming and reading absolutely all details. But AI can do it. So technically, if we will engage AI in release management process, it will give us a very solid foundation to dive much more deeper and to move all our approvals and orchestration on more higher level. It will make very, very solid foundation for the steps which we will discuss on the next slides.
Yeah, I mean, we discussed that new systems or modern systems are very interconnected. If you talk about the enterprise scale, it's even more interconnected, yeah? And then dependency becoming crucial for the releases, and it's so crucial that sometimes people say that release management is actually managing dependency. And if you look at dependency, they usually organize multiple levels. Yeah, there is a level of release dependencies where the release manager can explicitly mark the dependency according to their vision and knowledge. It obviously some dependency between the components of the solution based on the architecture, whether it's upstream, downstream, the way they are organized. But this is something that pretty much people can spot. What's very difficult to spot, it's something that lays underneath. It's, for example, a dependency between the issues, which you might know
Did we lose connection?
of dependency, you literally might miss the point while approving the release, or basically make a wrong decision by following the order of releasing components that is not operationally efficient due to the exposed dependencies. So let's see how AI can help here. And this is where AI can go much deeper in a process that's very difficult for the human to go. AI can analyze the dependencies on the issue level, but also check all the commits and pull requests, and then either confirm the dependencies being practically flagged at the release level or component levels, or suggest that some things were missed and some things should be taken in consideration in order effectively to ensure nothing gonna fail. And even more than that, AI can help and go into checking exactly the availability of environments. For example, if the integration testing needs to happen somewhere, it can check whether the environment is booked or not, which is again in most of the cases in the past was a manual process done by release manager. Okay, and then can check that, for example, for specific components the environment is booked, therefore it cannot happen because of ABCD. Right. So to some extent, this is where things become critical at scale. Obviously, in the past, these managers were trying to do this job to the best knowledge they could. I think with AI now, this could be done just much better, reducing the risk of failure due to missed dependencies, which are super crucial for this management process.
And actually, all these aspects in general, like connected to each other, like each aspect and improvement in each of them will make compounding and overall positive effect on each next area. And if you take a look at testing, so again, in testing, we have a lot of challenges. Like first of all, if we have a system which consists of many different components, we would need to know what version of each component do we have. We need to make sure that each component or maybe each element of the system is fully tested. And at the end, we need to do integration testing to make sure that everything is working together. And also we have a lot of abilities like scalability, performance, compatibility. Also we have performance testing and all other things around. And in order to make it in the right way, we need to make sure that we are testing it in with proper version on proper environment, and what is very important, in proper configuration, because like one configuration can be absolutely different from another one. And if you test with one configuration, it might not be working well on production. And now with AI, we can make a very deep investigation of current status of the release and make sure that, sorry, that first, if we have the right version, and we can make more deeper investigation, especially for complex system when there are 10, 20, 50, even 100 components, or maybe even microservices, which needs to be tested all together. And manually, it would be very difficult to monitor, and it would be very difficult to track it, or it will take some overhead. And this is where AI can help a lot. Also, we could be able to monitor testing results. With AI, we can do much better analysis analysis of issues, and we can understand if there are repetitive issues, if it's belong to the same cluster of functionality, if there are the same root cause, and try to get a more holistic overview on typical dysfunctions instead of looking at every issue independently. And it's very important if in our testing of the solution involved many teams, and each team may have issues which are connected to the same root cause, and they may be solved separately instead of like looking at it holistically. And AI can help to grab everything, that get all the picture in context of the release, and after that recognize some patterns, or maybe recognize patterns between releases, and make sure that we are fully aware about real root causes, and be focused on fixing them instead of fixing symptoms, which may not improve the overall situation in long run.
We already touched the environment scope of testing, but maybe let's give it another angle. Yeah, so sometimes it's not enough to have a single environment. Okay, you have lower and high environment, but sometimes you need to have multiple production environments. And this is something we see with some of our clients that has either geo distribution environments, some, for example, private cloud in US, in Europe, in Asia, or we see the companies that have a multi-product and multi-brand delivery, which create the environment per tenant for the specific kind of use cases. If you have so, then you definitely need to have an inventory of such kind of environments. Otherwise, this management going to be hell. And in addition to this inventory, you need to understand actually what's deployed where, okay? Because you rarely have a one-size-fits-all. You do a rollout of kind of your releases cross environment, starting with one and then go to the third one. So if you have an incident in the middle of the night, you'd rather know which specific version of specific component deployed on specific environments effectively to do it, and then understand, okay, it's a version, the latest one, and you just need to apply the latest to fix the issue, or you need to fix the problem in that specific version kind of being deployed. So it's all very difficult sometimes for human to observe, because usually this information stored somewhere in the Confluence or elsewhere. Effectively, this is where AI, from our experience, can do a better job, because AI can usually summarize effectively the healthiness of the environment and give a very good overview of what the latest components were deployed, when, how, and whether it's actually the latest or not, or there is some planning rollout activities kind of happening. It also can help to visualize the dependencies between the environment and where the different stages were passed properly, so that we keep this under control and have a better visibility in terms of what's deployed where. So from our experience, again, AI can just do a better job here. Though actually for human, it's also possible, but just very time consuming. And time sometimes super critical when it comes to fixing those issues.
Yeah, that's right. And also, while working with our clients, we see that majority of them are from regulated industries, and where this compliance is super important. It might be financial sector, it might be a healthcare, where we cannot release any medicine without regulator approval. It could be also gaming or gambling industries, military, and many others. But all of them are somehow regulated, because the cost of mistake is very high. So if we will do some overhead with compliance, and this overhead will be much smaller than potential problems which uncontrollable release may produce to the customers. And we see that for each of such release, we need to have approval flow. And if we delivering solution which has many different components, approval flow might be a bit more complicated, because we need to approve each component separately and the whole solution all together, so that it's making multi-level hierarchy. Also, we need to provide audit log for who did what, if all roles has been approved has approved everything at their stage, if all testing results are done, if all evidences are provided, and if all quality gates are fully fulfilled. And when we make it, we need somehow to submit it to a regulator and get feedback and push back this feedback to our internal flow, including the release management flow, in order to unlock or lock deployment and also specify required or approved deployment windows. Here, AI can be super valuable because, first of all, AI can gather all the information. So, like, gather all the information and generate all the documentation. No need to spend a lot of time. And we see that the generation of documentation, it's one of the most hated thing that teams has, because like nobody likes routine operation, and writing documentation and making some paperwork is like the most routine operation ever, and a lot of people hate it. And when we're asking like if you like or hate it, and everybody like laughing and telling, yeah, for sure we hate it. And another thing that's quite often when we are providing release for approval, we're making, despite all procedures and all the practices, we are making very, very high level overview. We are asking people, okay, do you have test result? Yes, and we're looking at them. We are asking about like if everything was checked. Yes. So technically, we need to trust to yes answers from many teams without having objective way to validate correctness of them. And people are not lying, so maybe they just like miss something, because everybody from us are human, and we are making mistakes, and those mistakes may cost a lot. So then with AI we can do very deep investigation on the task, code, pull request, artifacts, scanning for potential vulnerabilities, which could be done in automated way, maybe code smells, maybe code quality controls, and many other things. And AI can extract all this data and give us more holistic view before we will approve it. So then we can reduce potential risk, eliminate them, and make less mistakes with almost the same cost and almost the same time spent on doing so. So this is again because of this holistic context and holistically wide context window and ability to automatically pull data from many systems. We can easily improve our quality and use AI for it. And we see that it's super demanded by the clients.
As you mentioned, we all hate routine job and routine operation, and this is actually where most of the mistakes surprisingly happening when people just tired of doing it and then meet the things. Unfortunately, within release management, it's a lot of boring job. Yeah, it's a lot of routine, a lot of boring job, and this is connected, as we discussed, with the scale. That you need to check all those dependencies, you need to connect things, you need to cross-check it, assure it, etc. Because the price of mistake can be huge, and we definitely want to automate all that. And this is where AI looking promising. To help automate those things, just going deep inside, analyze and prepare all the insights for the human just to look into. Okay, and it's clear that any release management process is connected with tons of documentation, whether it's weekly reports, some insights about the status, progress, answering the question when and why so slow. It's also all sorts of release notes, technical release notes, pre-release notes, some other release notes for different kind of stakeholders, and it's all time consuming to create those. So this is again where AI looks very promising from the just ability to go inside and create this intelligence layer that helps to compose those summaries in a timely fashion, but also automate this process in a way. So we clearly see there's a lot of opportunity right now with AI to remove those boring tasks for the release managers, so they can focus really on the right things, and then just by doing so, they can already start making less mistakes because they're more focused on the right things.
And now, with all those advantages with AI, we're coming to the point. Okay, so like it's good, so we should adopt it for sure. But how to do it in the right way? Because release management is very conservative area. It's also very sensitive one, because if we will make some mistake, we may get some problem in production. We may get problem with the regulator, or we can even get some penalty, or even for the people may come to prison if some procedures with regulator will be broken, and it might not be broken because of just intentionally breaking the rules, but it may be broken because of some mistake in the flow or taking wrong decision. So then it's a very sensitive area. Is people like before coming to production are very careful about implementation of something. And also, we can see that AI can make mistakes. Recently, I think a lot of people have heard about some problem in smart contract in blockchain, which causes for multi-million loss because of AI mistake. We also have heard about problems with exposing database publicly because of AI mistake, or maybe because of unintentional drop of the database because of wrongly taken connection string by AI. So that's people definitely afraid about it, and also it's very difficult to predict when the problem will happen, and cost will be very big, like millions, as I mentioned, almost maybe lost database, and for some companies, especially at early stage, it may mean that the company is going to be closed. There are no absolutely way to recover after such major problems. So, but still, we cannot hold on. We cannot like just keep AI and tell that we are not going to implement. We should somehow got all these advantages and implement it. And from our side, we see a pattern which a lot of companies following at the moment, and we would like to present it to you. And also from our side, we recommend the same pattern to our clients when they are coming to the question, okay, how can we adopt AI in release management area without destroying our system, and how we can minimize risk and maximize potential benefits. So now let's see how it does it work.
Yeah, so let's see how it can done, as you said, incremental and iterative, so that we de-risk it, but also effectively we start moving ahead in a safe manner. Okay, so where we suggest to start effectively, and what we're doing ourselves internally, we obviously start from the area where AI is doing the best. It's just gathering the information, creating this intelligence layer in insights. That's essential to make kind of decisions. AI is working perfectly there. Basically, with the latest models, we clearly see that in the area of release management, it's actually producing very good insights. Effectively, if you talk about Rovo, for example, that's pretty much makes things to happen. If you're not happy with the process or basically with the outcomes, this is where you can help to educate the model, just to give the feedback. And then over time, it's from our experience, it's becoming much better. Okay, you shouldn't stop here. I think there should be the iterated process 1 and 2, where you can always cross-check, especially when the new model being released, to basically do some test prompts and ensure that the quality of the information gathering is what you expect. But what we saw from our experience is that after a couple of iterations, it's almost perfect. And sometimes we're getting things that just literally difficult for the human to observe themselves because of the volume of kind of the data being released. As soon as you get there, then you can move on and start effectively to design agents that effectively going to start producing you this information on a push basis. Yeah. So not on a pull. So when you do a prompt and get the answer, you want something being pushed. Okay. It's either might be on a cadence, when you kind of automate things like every morning do check A, B, C, D, generate me this, and this. This is usually what we see some of our clients using. Or some more sophisticated things when it's more signal based. Okay, so when something is happening, triggers, and then the agents start effectively doing the job and pushing the information towards kind of human to take it further. So again, we would suggest to start maybe on the sequence, but then clearly see how you can extend it from there and do kind of more pull based. And when this being kind of pushed towards human, this is where effectively the human can make the quality check of it once again, yeah, and take certain actions. So from our experience, we clearly see when Rovo can suggest certain risk not being covered and suggest taking certain actions by changing workflows or changing kind of some other things, or there's certain repetitive things happening within kind of release process that can be improved by either putting another quality gate or optimizing kind of the whole flow itself. And again, we suggest here to iterate until you find it perfect. And again, with a new model, we suggest to kind of recalibrate it. So once you reach this level, then effectively you can potentially ready to move on.
Yeah, so then this is like the shift from when people use AI as actor, like initiating something that people need to initiate, till the process when AI initiating some action and sending task human to approve. So that again is like offloading, but it's not making the fully automated process. And like, let's think how we can move from this step to fully automated one. And the next step, when we see that AI is offering us some actions and we are approving it, and we could be able to see that AI is making the mostly right decision. But in release management, it's not enough to tell that AI will be doing 95 or 90% the right decision. Yeah. What about 10 incorrect ones? Like, are we sure that we are okay that 10% of our deployments will be randomly done or just like on the wrong environment? So of course not. And I think it's like a super sensitive area. We cannot afford even 1% of mistakes. So then if AI can do the actions, of the most obvious solution is that another AI agent will do cross-check. And how to build it, you can ask yourself, okay, if AI will be producing result, how I am personally will be checking if this result is correct. And you can define for yourself some flow, how you will validate and make cross-check of this agent. And after that, you could be able to make another agent or maybe another several agents, because it may be multi-level system, which will be checking result and giving feedback to the initial agent. So then if we will be increasing amount of and defining some cross-check agents, which will be checking original one, then we could be able to significantly decrease amount of mistakes. And according to POCs we did, it's possible to come to 99% of confidence when we will be building this like multi-level pipeline, multi-level agent pipeline, which will be making action and making all necessary cross-checks. And also it's very important to constantly see on the result. If you see that there are some typical cases when the agent is making mistake, so then we can create another agent or maybe try to educate the initial one to handle the situation in the right way. As soon we come to a certain level of perfection, so for here, we may need to think, okay, it's work mostly well. And technically, I might be okay to come to production with it, but it's a little bit scary for me. So what should we do? The feedback is very easy. So try on lower environment. So if it will be happen some problems on development environment, not a problem. On staging, not big problem. On in UAT, also not very big problem. But we could be able to see a taste of fully automated pipeline with all the agents, like in the loop, with all the cross-check agents, and try it in real life. And after that, it will increase, it will help us to gain and increase our trust to these agents, because Technically, it's something like with self-driving cars. Maybe self-driving cars may be driving already much better than humans, and we saw a lot of videos when self-driving cars like avoiding collision in very crazy manner. But I think there are a lot of problems in trust, and if some incident will happen, who will be responsible? The same here. So this like running on lower environment will help us to build confidence that AI pipeline will be working much better and or maybe not worse than humans on production, and we can compare amount of incidents like before and after on lower environment, amount of mistakes before and after, and of course mistake will happen, and humans also make mistakes, but we need to see if amount of mistakes with AI is going to be bigger than amount of mistakes with humans, and we will see that in reality, amount of mistakes with human might be even higher than amount of mistakes with AI when we build the pipeline in the right way. And only when we gain this confidence, and if we see the real numbers, we can easily convince our teams to move with the same pipeline to production. And in this case, the system will be working in fully autonomous way, and we could be able to replace all routine job and all this release management work, or maybe some part of it with agents pipeline. And of course, it's not going to be one agent, it will be several agents, and each task needs to be done by separate agent, because each agent should have specialization and very narrowed context, because if it will be very wide context, then it will be increasing probability of mistakes.
It's a journey, and it's gonna kind of take some time. What we see from our clients' perspective is that they more tend to use it on allow environments, and then basically the human is a loop definitely for the production. Though when they have multiple production environments and they roll out gracefully, then from time to time allow agents to do effectively for the tail. Once risk and value is being handle. For example, once let's say one to environment being handled in production, then the rest of the tail can be done kind of in automation. Though effectively that's kind of their choice. Okay, let's look at us, what we do. Just remind you that we do release management apps for Jira, and the nature of our applications is SaaS. Okay. So for the last 12 months, we were heavily investing in AI capabilities in our platform, alongside migrating to Forge, and we built some key capabilities to help for the initial kind of 2 layers of the AI adoption, mainly building the ability to get this intel about release that's essential for the people to take decisions whether to approve it or not. Okay, so we built the AI capabilities to summarize the release in a way of what the scope is and how the scope is interconnected, whether any hidden dependencies on the issue level. We build the capability to analyze all the commits connected to all the issues that comprise kind of the release, and find any risky areas over there. As Yuri said, capabilities to read all the comments, read the comments from the pull requests, see the transaction history, check those things when the item was in a code review for 1.5 seconds, and bring all this on the surface for the release managers to understand, okay, what we actually trying to push to production, what's inside there, what was the history of all this bulk up till now, at which status it is, and what risks it exposes towards organization if we go to production with, taking in experience the previous releases that was done for the same components with a similar fashion, etc., etc. So this is something we already built within the product, and we see a lot of clients using, and we see this being improved day by day, with Atlassian investing in Rovo and giving more capabilities, giving more ability to Rover. Effectively, though the outcomes of those summaries becoming much better, and then we used ourselves when we push our own kind of releases to production. Another area that we invested is creating own release management agent to help release managers and organizations to basically give the visibility, transparency to the rest of the organization, because a great deal of time of release managers being spent on answering the questions like when, why, so slow. To the rest of organizations, even if the information is available, people sometimes, I wouldn't say lazy, they just don't have time to go and check, etc., because sometimes you also need to do a bit of intel to cross check it. So this is where an AI agent that we ship together with the application can do the job, pretty much answering all those questions, get the intel you need for the rest of the information. Though we also need to admit that this information basically at the basic level, though the prompts are usually kind of very basic. If we talk about moving it further towards kind of roadmap, we recently released a great deal for Rovo skills that can be used in. Guys, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, because Philip was saying that he can hear me. So we released a lot of skills for the Rovo Studio that can be used, and this is a foundation for creating the more autonomous kind of agents, either using the Rovo Studio in Jira, either using the automation in Jira, or if you have your own AI brain, then using an MCP connection to Jira and using kind of Rovo skills internally. And we have probably dozens of clients already kind of using it and getting the value out of it. And this is getting us closer to the point of using more autonomous agent. Still early days, but it's already there. And then we keep on working with our clients to move ahead with this journey. Those that want to move further, and we're trying to support them in the best way possible. Though we tend not just do it for the clients, we tend to test everything ourselves within our own organization, the way we produce our software and our releases.
Yeah, and it's definitely a very interesting journey, and we are going to continue with it. Also, we have a lot of requests, a lot of interest, like and good feedbacks and adoption of role skills. Of course, we are looking forward to get Forge capability to build our MCP, because it will increase capabilities even better. And if you also are looking about ways to optimize your release management process, if you have challenges with having heavy and process with overhead, we would be happy to get your feedback and your needs, like your challenges, so that we could be able to take them into account while we are building release management app functionality. Also, if you would like to join release management team with developing new features, we would be very happy to do it with you. So you could be able to use it from your side, and we could be able to do what is needed from our side to cover your use case and build the most universal and suitable solution for large-scale companies in order to build sophisticated release management process, which will be relying on AI agents, and also for all those concepts which are already working somehow with external AI engine. We are moving into our product and also making it Rovo powered for using all advantages of Rovo and keyword graph inside Atlassian ecosystem. So just would like to repeat myself that all that approaches they are proven with external AI, and now we just converting all the things into our product. Thank you very much for your attention, and if you have questions, right time to do so. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you a lot. As you said, we're looking forward for your feedbacks and have an open discussion about your AI strategy and how we can help you integrate release management process into it.
Yes. First of all, thank you very much for that great presentation. Just give me 1 second.